Hi everyone, I'm Duncan and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. This segment or feature will be on Ringo Starr, who basically Sir Richard Starkey, but also known as Ringo Starr, who has just celebrated his 85th birthday and is really at the top of his game in recording very very high standard of work. So I thought it'd be nice just to have a little look through Ringo's solo career, um, and just to talk about some of his albums, and perhaps to challenge what is considered his greatest album. Oh, it's going to be very controversial. Ringo, of course, as the late 60s came and the cracks began to appear in the Beatles, Ringo was starting to write songs. In fact, his first full composition to be recorded, Don't Pass Me By, members of the very respected group of musicians who are called the Band, who did a lot of work with Bob Dylan, said that they felt that was the best song on the White Album. Well, that's praise indeed. The next year, Ringo had a child friendly song called Octopus's Garden, which I remember being performed on the Pinky and Perky show, I believe. And Ringo had written it when he'd gone on a holiday while the White Album was in production. He'd had a little bit of a disagreement with his old friend Paul, and he'd gone diving and seen the guide who went with him told him about octopuses who cultivate the seabed, perhaps the same way worms cultivate the inner soil. Anyhow, the song became a children's favourite, and as well as the Beatles version, there were I think several other versions done on children's records, probably all over the world. Beatles split up. Ringo does an album called Sentimental Journey, which is a series of music hall songs. His first attempt with an album. Despite the fact several friends are helping him out producing, the album doesn't really do very well. It's clobbered by the critics. But Ringo is a very courageous man. Having fallen off the horse, he gets back on again. And towards the end of 1970, we'll have this album coming out, Beaucoup de Blue, which was recorded, I think it's recorded in Nashville, I think, with some of the best musicians around who are not only generous in their skill of musicianship, but also in the writing of songs. And it's a lovely album. There was a single, Beaucoup de Blue, that was just released in America. Well, I think that could have been released right across the world with another single follow-up. Ringo does underplay his hand a bit sometimes. They've got that lovely picture of Ringo looking so easygoing, and then just turn it round. Pity the picture couldn't have been a bit bigger, and I'm sorry about the glare, but that's I think the producer and the whose name eludes me, and all the other musicians. In fact, they recorded so much material in a matter of about 3 or 4 days that there was some material left, which was hopefully going to be used on another album, but that sadly never happened. And I think somebody, they either got lost, those tracks, or got bought or something. But that was Ringo's second album. And Ringo was also then very soon after that released a standalone single, "It Don't Come Easy," which is about the difficulties of songwriting. But the song's full of charm, and it had a lot of people from Badfinger playing on it, as well as George Harrison. And then a year later, he'd have Back Off Boogaloo, which would have been a nice to have had that on launching an album. But Ringo was so busy with his film career, with films like That'll Be the Day, which he got very good reviews for, that there wasn't time for an album then. Fans would have to wait until the autumn of 1973 when Ringo comes up with a single called Photograph. And this will be the lead single from his album Ringo, which will, I think Photograph came out in October 73, and then I think in late November or early December the album came out. Quite a nice package. This, of course, is the CD, not the vinyl album, but inside the thing. This is why this is worth getting on vinyl if you as well as. Now Ringo has all three other Beatles, Paul, John, and George, on the album. His old friend Klaus Fortman, fantastic bass player, is also a very fantastic artist, and he does for each track on the album a very nice black and white. I won't show them all, but that's Step Lightly, which is a track that Ringo wrote, a sort of vaudeville tap dancing song, which is again with a very strong music hall influence. Just see, there's a couple. They that's from I'm the Greatest, which is the song that John provided for the album, which was originally going to go on the John Lennon Plastic Ono Band album, but I think the album was going to end with John having gone through all his difficulties and then realising, he's made it, but he just went for a different ending, and I gave that to Ringo. So the artwork is lovely, and it's that's what I say before. It's well worth getting the album on vinyl. Now the Ringo album was a massive success right around the world. There'd be another single coming from it, "You're 16," which I think is the Platters, his very version of the Platters hit with Paul McCartney on kazook. Is it called kazooka? That sort of saxophone type thing, and that was an enormous hit. And even bigger than Photograph, which had gone to number one. Photograph went to number one, America, New Zealand, Canada, Australia. Made a modest number 8 in his home country, and then A second album produced by Richard Perry came out about a year later, uh, Goodnight Vienna, which has, I think it's John wrote that and played on the track. Then, of course, Ringo's contract with EMI, as indeed with the other three Beatles, comes to an end. And Ringo starts off, he made a deal, I think it's with Polydor Records for Europe and Atlantic for other America and Canada, and comes up with an album called Rotograver. I think I can't pronounce it. It's got Ringo with a monocle on the front and a very nice black and white. The other side of the record has got a lot of fan graffiti on a door, Beatles graffiti. The album, I didn't take the world by storm. None of the singles charted. It sold, I think, 4,000 copies in the UK, which I presume is just about acceptable. It's not great because the Ringo album in the UK went gold, and that's 100,000 copies, and Goodnight Vienna went silver, and that's 50,000 copies. Ringo would never sell that kind of volume of records ever again, although a lot of his career has he's produced some lovely stuff. Now he then did another album called Ringo the Fourth that did worse than Rotograver. And then for a while, I think he came up with another album. I think got deleted very, very quickly because and for a while, things don't go well for him at all. But he comes up with an album of which it was planned George and Paul provide songs for, and John is going to provide a couple of songs. And work starts on the album in 1980, and it's called Stop and Smell the Roses. And now what happened, of course, was John's terrible death comes in December, and very sadly, John has not been able to record the songs with Ringo, and it's suggested that Ringo just records the tracks with other musicians, and Ringo said he just couldn't do that; it was too painful. It's actually a lovely album. It's got a single called "Rack My Brain," which was given to him by George. So obviously, Ringo had recorded a George song for Rotogravu, and what had happened was that George had not been able to attend the recording sessions, was John and Paul with their songs that they'd given Ringo had. And when George heard Ringo's version of the song, he was so livid, he phoned Ringo up and was threatening to sue him and all sorts of things. Because George was working on his album, 33 and a Third, that was running out of time. He was behind, and that isn't a happy story either until, but we'll go on that another time. You've got Ringo, and this is a CD version of a special edition that was also released in vinyl. And one of the tracks that's on the bonus tracks is a track called Brandy, which is absolutely beautiful. It's probably one of the loveliest tracks that Ringo has ever done. It's probably in my top 5. It's a very slow and very sad song, but Ringo puts his homely personality into it, and you can feel the sadness. Now, to my shame, uh, I've got Ringo's Old Wave, which I've played a couple of times. I haven't really been able to get into it. This is, I think, came in the 80s. Must give that more of a try. Um, but it looks. I have played it a couple of times, and it's got some good stuff on it. So it seems to be that after the late 70s, when things had gone a little bit downhill, Ringo was now climbing back. He had a couple of albums that didn't get. I think a Santa Claus album that didn't get for Christmas, that didn't get given a particularly good time by the critics. Um, but it seems that Ringo is beginning to realise, and producers are beginning to realise, the real thing that Ringo needs. And when he's in the hands of a good producer with good musicians, that tends to really help him. There was in the early 90s, we had Time Takes Time, which had the single Weight of the World, which was absolutely lovely. Very nice song. Got into the bottom part of the singles charts in many countries, but sadly didn't give Ringo that hit that he deserves to have by now. But it really had a song that he was on the B-side of Weight of the World, a song that he co-wrote with somebody, and it stands very, very status quo. It's called After All These Years. And it sounds very status quo-ish, and that's the back of the album. Now, in the recent years, Ringo has produced 6 or 7 4-track EPs. Most of them have got very, very good. In fact, there's not. I don't think there's a weak track on them. They're very, very good. These EPs, and they're well worth getting before they unless they're going to be released as an album, which I hope it won't happen. I hope they remain on the shelves because they are very nice. There's one track called Coming Undone, which is a very tongue-in-cheek song. I can't even mentally, I'm blocked with the names of any of the EPs, but I do know they're good and they're worth getting. Then Ringo decides to go back to his love for country music, and this is his latest thing. Now it went to number 1 in the album charts. So Ringo's first number 1 in the album charts, I think. And you can see he looks terrific in a cowboy hat, and in fact, it'd be lovely if Ringo had actually made a few westerns. I know he did one, that very low budget one in the 1970s, but I think I know he always had a love for filmmaking. I think it'd be wonderful if he made a movie with his all-star band as they go on the road and do something a bit funny, like A Hard Day's Night, or and just have a good old laugh. Because he and his musicians, they've got a lot of personality. Anyhow, this is a lovely album. I haven't completely got into it, but I would say that it's worth getting. Now, I'm just going to say that I think that I do not believe that most people say that it's the Ringo album, that's the best album Ringo's done. Now, I agree mostly, but I'm going to stick my neck out and say that I believe Bakuda Blue is equally as good, and that these two albums are Ringo's best. Now, there's plenty of great music all over the place on the other albums. You just got to know where to find it. So I'd check up about, read the reviews of the various albums. So if you want to get the good albums, but Ringo has certainly got every right to feel very proud of himself. He's making wonderful music at a time when a lot of musicians have hung up their instruments, but Ringo is just enjoying himself. He's happy. He's got a beautiful wife, and he's very, very talented. That is what a lot of musicians who've worked with him have said. They said he knows exactly what will work and what won't work. And so obviously he's learnt a lot from producers other than George Martin about. But there we go. These two albums are certainly worth getting. And they're in print. They're a little. You might just have to hunt around a little bit. But of course, Ringo's done films with his wife, Barbara, Lady Starkey. So Lord and Lady Starkey, I wish you both many, many more happy years to come. If you enjoyed this, then please tick the like button. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would love to have you aboard. If you want to send this to a friend, then please take the share, use the share button. But take care, everybody. And Ringo, along you have a very fine collection of solo works that can sit very happily together with your three colleagues. Okay, so God bless everybody.